You don't need to give 100% every day to win. You just need to give something. One tiny step forward today beats the perfect plan you'll start tomorrow. That's the 1% rule. It's not about giant leaps. It's about consistent inches. And here's the secret. When you stop obsessing over the finish line and fall in love with the process, success becomes automatic. Do your 1% today and watch the results take care of themselves. The world worships the grand gesture. We celebrate the record breakers, the overnight millionaires, the big leap stories that make headlines. But the truth that very few people want to admit is this: almost none of those victories were the result of a single massive act. They were the result of thousands of small wins, compounded over time, until the world finally noticed. Think of success like building a brick wall. No one lays 1,000 bricks in one day. The master mason knows it is one brick at a time, straight, solid, perfectly placed, until the wall stands unshakable. Life works exactly the same way. When you commit to small daily wins, you tap into the most powerful force in human achievement: compound growth. A single day's 1% improvement might feel like nothing, but stack 365 of those together and you have a 37x transformation. Not 37%, 37 times. That's the magic of compounding. Small wins do something else too. They build confidence. Each tiny victory whispers to you, you are capable, you are moving forward. And that whisper grows louder with every day you keep the promise to yourself. Napoleon Hill taught that the habit of persistence is forged in small victories. Big goals overwhelm, small goals empower. You cannot run a marathon tomorrow if you haven't walked a mile today. You cannot build a fortune tomorrow if you have not mastered your budget today. This is why the 1% rule works. It removes the crushing weight of perfection and replaces it with the lightness of progress. Ask yourself, what can I do today that's just one step better than yesterday? It might be one extra push-up, one more page read, $1 saved, one call made. Over time, those single steps become a staircase, and that staircase takes you somewhere most people only dream about. Here is the law you must remember. Small wins become habits, habits become character, and character shapes destiny. Ignore the temptation to make a giant leap and risk falling backward. Instead, stack your wins until the day comes when everyone around you will wonder how you suddenly became so successful. The truth will be your secret. There was no sudden leap. It was the 1% rule all along. Intensity is seductive. It's flashy. It's the New Year's resolution gym rush, the I'll work for 10 hours straight today mentality, the I'll change everything starting right now excitement. And while intensity feels powerful, it is the most unreliable engine for success. Consistency, on the other hand, is quiet. It's not glamorous. It's the person who shows up every day, doing the work, even when no one is watching, even when motivation is gone. And yet, consistency is what builds empires. Napoleon Hill said that persistence is to the character of man as carbon is to steel. Without it, you may shine briefly, but you will not endure. Intensity might get you started, but consistency is what carries you across the finish line. Think of two people. One works out for 5 hours one day, then disappears for 2 weeks. The other works out for 30 minutes every day without fail. 6 months later, who has transformed their body? The same principle applies to business, relationships, skill building, and wealth creation. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum is a force multiplier. It makes your actions easier and more powerful over time. But here's the secret. Momentum only comes to those who show up repeatedly. The danger of relying on intensity is that it drains your willpower. You go all in, burn out, and retreat. Then you feel guilty, start again with intensity, burn out again, and the cycle continues. The 1% rule thrives on consistency because it demands so little willpower each day that you cannot talk yourself out of it. Just 1% DB hater is not intimidating. But the genius of it is that by the time you realize how far you've gone, you are already living at a level far beyond where you started. There is a force so powerful, so quietly unstoppable, that most people never notice it until it has passed them by. Albert Einstein is said to have called it the eighth wonder of the world, compound growth. In money, it's the reason a small investment can turn into a fortune without additional effort. But in life, it's far greater than just dollars. Compound growth applies to every skill you develop, every habit you form, every bit of effort you invest in yourself. Here's the formula. Small effort, X time, X consistency equals exponential results. The mistake people make is thinking in straight lines. If I improve by 10% this month, then in a year I'll be 120% better. But compounding doesn't play by those rules. Improve by just 1% every day, and in a year, you are not 365% better. You are over 3,700% better. That's 37 times the version of yourself that started. This is why the 1% rule is not just motivational fluff. It's mathematics. The same law that makes a bank account grow will transform your health, your mindset, your business, and your relationships. The tragedy? Most people underestimate what compounding can do because they quit too early. They look at the first month's results and think, this isn't working. But compounding rewards the patient. It's like planting bamboo. For years, nothing appears to happen above ground. Then suddenly, it shoots up several feet in a single season. Your job is not to demand instant results. Your job is to plant, water, and trust the process. If you stay consistent, the numbers will take care of themselves. Napoleon Hill wrote that patience, persistence, and perspiration make an unbeatable combination for success. Compounding is proof of that. The daily 1% might feel small, but in the end, it will make you appear unstoppable. Overwhelm is the silent killer of dreams. People don't quit because their goal is impossible. They quit because they try to do too much, too soon, and burn themselves out. The 1% rule shields you from this trap by keeping your focus narrow and manageable. One small step, one simple improvement, one brick laid. That's it. Why is this so important? Because the human brain is wired to avoid pain and seek ease. A massive, complicated plan feels like pain, so your mind will find ways to escape it. But a small, simple step, your mind will accept it without resistance. This is why simplicity is a success multiplier. You can't climb a mountain in a single leap, but you can take one step, and then another, and then another. Before you know it, you've covered more ground than you imagined possible. Napoleon Hill often spoke about the importance of a definite chief aim, knowing exactly what you want. Simplicity serves this purpose by stripping away distractions and noise. When you commit to just one small, clear improvement each day, you free yourself from the chaos of trying to do it all. Think of it like cleaning a messy room. If you tell yourself you must clean the whole house, you'll likely do nothing. But if you tell yourself, I'll just clean this one drawer today, you'll start. And once you start, momentum kicks in, and suddenly, you've done more than you planned. The beauty of the 1% rule is that it turns progress into a natural, almost effortless part of your life. By embracing simplicity, you not only avoid burnout, you create a lifestyle of steady growth. Remember, one of the greatest enemies of achievement is not failure, it's perfectionism. Perfection demands flawless execution from day one, and when you inevitably fall short, it whispers in your ear, "See, you're not good enough. Why bother?" The 1% rule destroys perfectionism because it shifts the goal from being perfect to making progress. You no longer have to run the perfect business, write the perfect book, or create the perfect life in one giant leap. You only have to be a little bit better than you were yesterday. Napoleon Hill once said, "Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand." This is the essence of progress over perfection. The just right moment never arrives. There is only now, and the small step you can take today. Perfectionism is paralyzing because it makes you focus on the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Progress frees you by focusing on the next inch, the next brick, the next 1%, and those inches add up. Think of the Wright brothers. Their first airplane wasn't perfect. It barely stayed in the air, but each flight taught them something. Each failure improved the design, and eventually, their small, imperfect steps changed the world. Here's the truth. Chasing perfection means you will forever be preparing to start. But chasing progress means you are already in motion, and once you are in motion, momentum will carry you further than perfection ever could. So release the need for flawless beginnings. Embrace messy starts, awkward attempts, and imperfect wins. A year from now, you will look back and thank yourself for moving forward, instead of waiting for the perfect moment that never came. Every day, you are casting votes for the person you will become. Each action, repeated over the time, becomes a habit. And your habits, not your dreams, not your intentions, but your habits, will decide your destiny. This is why the 1% rule is so powerful. It's not just about achieving goals. It's about rewiring who you are, one small action at a time. If you read a few pages a day, you become a reader. If you save a little money daily, you become a saver. If you train your body consistently, you become an athlete. Habits work in the background. Once they are formed, they no longer require the same effort to maintain. This is the point where growth becomes effortless, because it is no longer a conscious struggle. It is simply who you are. Napoleon Hill wrote, "You are the master of your destiny. You can influence, direct, and control your own environment. You can make your life what you want it to be." That mastery begins with mastering your habits. The beauty of the 1% rule is that it uses the smallest possible commitment to lock in the habit before expanding it. Most people fail because they try to install giant, heavy habits overnight. The 1% rule says, start so small you can't fail. Once the habit is formed, you can increase the intensity. But first, you must make the behavior automatic. Just as a river carves stone over centuries, your small, repeated actions will carve your future. Remember this, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. Make them strong, and you will be strong. Make them weak, and no dream will stand. The 1% you commit to today will decide the life you live tomorrow. Most people lose the battle for success before they even step onto the field, because they convince themselves that if they can't give 100%, they might as well give nothing at all. This is the fatal mistake. You see, the universe does not reward you for grand intentions that never become action. It rewards you for movement. A single step forward, no matter how small, keeps the dream alive. Zero effort, on the other hand, turns the dream to dust. Napoleon Hill often emphasized decisive action. He taught that procrastination is the thief of both time and opportunity, and that thief often disguises itself in excuses. I'm too tired. I'm not ready. I'll start fresh on Monday. The 1% rule slams the door on those excuses, because when your standard is just one small step, one phone call, one push-up, one page written, the barrier to starting is almost non-existent, and once you start, momentum begins to work in your favor. Here's the hidden truth. Your 1% today is more powerful than your perfect plan for tomorrow. A perfect plan on the shelf produces nothing. A small action, imperfectly executed, produces motion. Think of a rocket at liftoff. Most of the fuel is spent just escaping Earth's gravity. Once it's moving, far less effort is needed to keep going. Your dreams work the same way. The hardest part is starting, and the easiest way to start is to make that first action so small, so easy, that you cannot say no to it. Do not despise the small beginnings. That 1% you give today might be the spark that ignites a chain reaction of opportunities, connections, and growth you never could have planned. Ask yourself this: if I can't do everything, what can I do? Then do it. And watch as the small ripples you create today turn into waves tomorrow. Goals are essential. Without a target, you drift. But goals are not enough. Why? Because goals live in the future. High life is lived in the present. If all your energy is focused on the finish line, you may miss the joy, the growth, and the transformation that happens along the way. Napoleon Hill spoke of definiteness of purpose, a crystal clear vision of what you want. But he also warned that purpose without a plan is just a wish. The plan is the process, and when you embrace the process, the results take care of themselves. Let's use an example. Imagine you want to run a marathon. If you obsess over the 26.2 miles, it will overwhelm you. But if you focus on today's run, just lacing your shoes and logging the miles in front of you, you begin to build the capacity for that marathon without drowning in its enormity. The 1% rule thrives on process thinking. It says, your job is not to control the outcome. Your job is to control your daily inputs. You cannot directly control how fast your business grows, how quickly your body transforms, or how soon your skills are recognized. But you can control whether you made that sales call, hit the gym, or practiced your craft today. Focusing on the process has another advantage. It shields you from the emotional roller coaster of immediate results. When your self-worth is tied to instant wins, you will feel defeated when results are slow. But when your pride comes from showing up and honoring your process, you will feel victorious every single day, because you are doing the work that matters. This is why champions in any field talk about falling in love with the grind. The grind is the process. The grind is where mastery is forged, and when you fall in love with it, your success becomes inevitable.